Now that's cold-blooded.
So we're going to run through the charts, and I'm just going to put the warning out there now. It's not going to be an overly positive overview. So if you've come here tonight looking for bullish hopium, I am not the man, because I'm gonna be talking pretty negatively about almost everything in existence aside from silver. Positive if you're a USD bull, yeah, potentially, yeah. The last time we streamed was after CPI, right? So we watched the CPI dump unfold, the pump dump scenario, and let's dive into some charts anyway, and we'll cover everything off. Oh, and of course, Anata tonight as well. Of course, how could we forget? Let's start off with BTC instead of ETH. We'll start off with BTC, and then we'll dive across to various other markets. Just out of interest, like what's the current bias on BTC? All right, let's just do it. I hate the bull bear conversation, actually. Let's just do, which do we hit first? 17,500 or 17.5 or 16? Which do we hit first? Man, still quite a lot of 17.5s. Honestly, I'm quite surprised by that. I thought I was gonna have to panic about being short, but actually there's loads of 17.5s here. Yeah, that's fine. This seems good to me. We won't hit either. Volatility dead. Now, I don't think we need to poll this. I don't think it's worth polling this. So here's the higher time frame range and the areas that we're running in for now. So the higher time frame range, I think, it's okay to call it that forever, like for now, but realistically, I think this is just the stop-off point in the consolidation before we continue legging lower. I really don't think this range is going to be the range that we're going to be here for a long time. I think that this is a pit stop on the way to lower prices. I think the reaction at 4 was probably key to that. So we're in a situation here, and this isn't really a bear flag. I saw someone in chat just post that up, but this isn't really a bear flag. It's just really where BTC was trading and interesting marker points for BTC and its journey through this rally that we had at the start of December. But what we're looking at here from the higher time frame perspective, and I'll just swap to the Coinbase chart that got everybody mad on Twitter to run through this. I don't see much difference in the outcome between these two charts, or between these 2 points in the chart. I really don't see a huge difference here. I think this is the retest into the breakdown, and I think everybody is unrealistic in that they think they're going to get 17.5. That would be my personal view. It really depends on how equities do, but I think everybody is being highly unrealistic at getting 17.5. No bear rally. You've had a bear rally. The bear rally was the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks. That was the bear rally, right? So I think that 17.5, I think that people are just going to get caught. I think that this just continues to the downside. I think this was your test if you wanted to try and short into BTC, or at least on the breakdown. I don't think it gets above 17.2 if it decides to hit the upside. I think 17.2 would be capped here. This is a former resistance zone through here. So I think this is capping price through here. Highly doubt you make it to 17.5. I don't see any real reason why 17.5 would ever be on the cards through this region. To me, if you just break this down very simply, this is the weekly bearish retest of the breakdown region. This is the reaction that we've seen from it. And we've taken out every single high all the way back to November. We're over a month, 5-6 weeks of consolidation of highs that have been removed. All those stops been taken all the way through this 6 week. And the thing that I raised as the concerning point in the Haven when I started to cover this in more detail is you've done your upside run. Bulls have done their upside run. Let's not forget the situation here, okay? We've done the upside run. That's the move here, 18.2. That's the sweep of the highs. And once those highs are taken, what else is there for the bulls to achieve in this region? Realistically, that move there is pretty much the expectation of what the bulls should have had for this move. You take what we are off the lows, that's a 20% counter trend rally. That is a strong bear market rally. And so realistically, once you look at this and you say, okay, the bulls have taken everything from the top side, they've taken out all of the short positions from the last 6 months, then it brings into question, okay, now what about all of this? What about everything here? So we've already started attacking this low. And obviously we've taken this low, but now we've got all of this still. So I think that this is just destined for downside. I would be highly surprised to get back up to 17.5. I think if there is a rally, probably 17.2, we would tap out, and that's it. And after 15.4, the next leg down, like, I would like to take us to that 12-13k area. That would be the ideal scenario in here. Is a 15.5 region strong? I wouldn't say so. I don't know why it would be. I don't think there's any significant reason for it to be a strong region for BTC to bounce. It's had a couple of bounces from here, but again, it's just a consolidation structure in a downtrending market. That's all we've got here for now. And this move here, I think, is just a confirmation for me at this point in time. This is just consolidation. Now, the only area that kind of differs in that thought process is, what if this is not an expansion zone? What happens if this is just more chop? Especially given that we're in a very low volatility period throughout the holiday season. Last trading day for most major desks was Friday. A lot of volume in equities will start to dry up, I would suspect. So maybe we hang around here for a little bit longer, just kill the volatility towards Christmas, and then see how things pick up in the new year. There are some concerning charts on the equity side that are not good for risk as a whole. The other thing that we have is we've got a situation where the dollar looks very strong, could still fail. I'll add that caveat in. Could absolutely still fail. Still has not achieved anything significant on the daily time frame, so could still fail. But we have a dollar that looks as though it's trying to build up steam for that bull div play out. We've got a lot of equities that are on the verge of losing monthly support levels. We've got the indexes, especially SPX, that lost that major level again at 3,900. It failed the trend line breakout. We've got the VIX, which has sat on its bottom support, which has been coincided obviously with every major rejection of SPX at that trend line. There are so many confluent factors for continuation lower for risk. So let's quickly take a look over there. So I think, like I said, BTC, it looks like a bearish weekly retest for me. And let's head over and take a look at... We'll start off with the dollar, because the dollar's a nice easy one on the daily time frame. So basically, really good close for the dollar on Friday, and continues to move in against this loss of momentum here on the Awesome Oscillator. Now, the eagle-eyed among you may notice that the RSI does not match up perfectly to that, which is a saving grace for risk, potentially, that we can fail here. However, I think that this is a significant slowdown in momentum throughout this region for the dollar, and I fully expect it to try and take back off and attack the upside. 105.5 is still really the key level. That's really the big one. You want to see 105.5 reclaimed for the dollar. And in that scenario, risk is going to be puking already, but that really doesn't set us up nicely, because it also means the dollar is likely to have continuation. So again, does not set up nicely for risk markets at all. So just be wary of the dollar strength that we're starting to see down here. It's starting to hold up. It's starting to, on Thursday, Friday, it's starting to give that impulse to the upside. It's starting to spread its wings a little from this lows region. But dollar really needs to reclaim this. Like I said about the bullish perspective, the dollar has not yet achieved anything. Whilst this rally, while this bull div looks good, it still has not achieved anything significant through this region. It really needs to start reclaiming those former levels. And then we'll go over to SPX. So the 12-hour started to show the slowdown here, which we know about by now. Friday was a horror day, Thursday was a horror day, and the weekly is pretty much a horror candle. Failed the breakout, pushed above the level for the first time, and huge rejection here. Fell below 3,900, really significant point for SPX during this region. It's been the real pivot point throughout all of this. Really clean, respected level all the way through 3,900. Loss of that. So retest into 3,900 we would expect to be the failure point, and the rejection here then obviously would send everything else lower. In terms of RSI positioning and Awesome Oscillator positioning, it's also horrendous for bulls. Awesome Oscillator is yet to cross over. When the crossover happens is when we expect the momentum to come in, so we're not even at the point where we think that the bearish drive has happened. But consider all of the other bearish crossovers here. It's once this crossover happens that the momentum starts. So we're not even at the crossover point yet. The other thing is that the AO cross positive. So the AO cross positive here, which typically in counter trend rallies means that the rally is done. It means that the momentum to the upside has probably played out. And again, it's a concern for the bulls that this now can flip negative again, considering the last time it flipped negative was here in February. And then we just had literally February all the way to November, 9 months of downtrending market action here, with the weekly awesome oscillator just being lodged on this side. So really nasty overall situation. 4 hour definitely could bounce. Hourly looks great for a bounce. Really nice setup here on the bull div throughout these lows. So I think the hourly and the 4 hour setting up really nicely to give us some relief. And again, that's where the kind of the BTC upside or the crypto upside could come in, considering nothing has really happened this weekend. The only thing to keep in mind is from an index's rally perspective, the reset for those people who are interested in kind of RSI resets, they happen relatively quickly. And a couple of strong green candles, this div will have played out, and that'll be it. And then we start to align once again with the fact that our higher time frames look piss poor, basically. The daily is awful. It's such a nasty momentum setup here. You lose the level, you're about to cross over, that momentum shifting to the downside. It's a hockey market. Dollar looks good, holding the div. Indexes look bad, losing levels. BTC looks poor, swept all of the upside, now is attacking the downside. Weekly bearish retest, bad scenario. There's not many positives I can paint for the market. The only positive that I would paint is the fact that the dollar has failed over the course of the last 3 months to reclaim any level. And so if there is a hope for this market turning it around from here, it is based on the dollar failure again. It is based on the fact that the dollar won't reclaim the levels. Indexes will somehow see some strength and will start to reclaim. So a dollar continuation lower and an SPX reclaim of 3,900, and I think you're looking a lot stronger in terms of like the bullish short-term price action. Where this starts to get considerably worse, so when you start to look at some of the major equities markets like Apple. So Apple once again trading down into this 135 support level, and RSI in a horrendous position through here. Just looks as though it's rejecting the 50 and about to rotate back around to the downside. So a really poor position on something like Apple. And then you go to something like Disney, and you take a look at Disney on the monthly. And again, you've got another situation here where you're looking at a major market that is sat on a monthly support level at 94, and you have 12 days to save this. What about your significant Tesla call? What do you mean significant? I think I said I'd taken a call on Tesla. I'm not sure. I think maybe you've added the wording about it being significant. So some pretty poor looking equities markets as a whole. Yeah, BTC Weekly does look bad. It's a small position to the long side on Tesla because I think I can't ignore the setup. But like as I said, I'm fucking very short on the markets. So what about silver? Yes, silver's a simple one. If risk starts puking, silver's going to puke. I think 2150 is a really nice level for silver because it means it will tag below that 22 support level. But 2150, there's a really nice untested breakout region around the 2150s. And so I think there's a good chance that it comes back down to that. So I'm preparing myself to be a buyer below that level again. I still think that 2023 will be an exceptional year for the metals. And I believe that because if I were to plan out my macro overview and macro thoughts as they stand right now, a week before Christmas, I think that risk, crypto, everything in that pile, equities, crypto, is all going to have a leg down. I think everything is going to take a fresh, lower low leg down. Don't know when it's going to happen. Don't know if it's going to happen in 2 weeks' time. Don't know if it's going to happen in 2 months' time. But I think with the way the Awesome Oscillator and RSI is lining up on several of the majors, the way it's lined up on crypto, the way that we've got that move on BTC, I think that's probably sooner rather than later. So I think the next leg down for all those markets happens, and then I think you get a flat consolidation range for a significant period of time. Then I think you get 12 months of flat sideways price action, like the Pentoshi chart that I commented on free. I think you get flat consolidation, boring trading for a significant length of time in 2023. And that's when I think metals outperform. So that is the overall macro thought process. I was reading shit earlier about, I think Bloomberg put out an article about the recession and how bad the recession's going to be. And like literally every single reply was like, how can it be a recession if we know it's coming? How come Bloomberg are telling you a recession's coming? Shouldn't recessions sneak up on you? All of these people still in this slight world of disbelief about the current overall situation. And it's like, when you look at the fucking hedge funds and when you look at the people who are just bleeding out and going to zero, these people haven't got a fucking clue. Like, these fucking long-only funds that have just been funneling money into a downtrending market that are getting blown out. And people are somehow thinking that these geniuses, how come they're not spotting the recession? How come they're not selling? Yeah, didn't Goldman say they're cutting 4,000 jobs? Yeah, front page of the Financial Times this weekend. 4,000 jobs at Goldman going. I mean, that's a good thing, right? Yeah, nice thread about Carlo. It's a really good read. It's a really good read. I don't know about anybody else, but like, so many people that I know, and I'd probably speak broadly for the UK here, because, you know, I know that it expands out, but so many people that I know purchased cars during COVID. 0% interest, car deals were being thrown at you left and centre. People had money saved up, they were being encouraged to spend, and people bought cars. And there's so many people that took a new car out during, and so that thread makes complete sense. Despite being in a different country, that thread makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that whole repo trend coming in the next few months, yeah, basically just like the dude predicting the crash of the auto market. And it makes sense. It makes sense. Like, I understand the dot connection there. It has a car that they can't do anything with, dealer can't take the car, bank can't refinance, and so other banks are offering them loans. Like, it's like a fucked up scenario. But what's your take? Do you see below 50 on BNB? What's your take? How bad is the BNB situation? Everything seems fine, right? We think Binance is fine. Yeah, new car's 20% more expensive as well. Yeah, very good points. We're going to continue adding FUD on this. Do you recommend any books on trading? None. I recommend YouTube and watching video content. How do you read the RSI and AO mismatches where one divs but the other doesn't? I still believe the AO over the RSI just because the AO is a little bit slower, so I prefer the signal from the AO, especially for swing positions or higher time frame. However, it would be far better in terms of if we got that double confluence. If we had the daily div on the RSI as well as the awesome oscillator, I wouldn't have hedged that dollar discussion where I said bulls have a hope here if we continue breaking lower. Like, I wouldn't have hedged that if we had both. But because we've got the situation where I don't have the double confluence of RSI linking up perfectly with the AO, I have to throw out that hedge, because that is one of the situations. Just sold my house in London, full ask price. Congratulations. Expecting a crash in the UK housing market soon. Yeah, I think London dipped for 2 months in a row, which is the first city, or first location, I think, in the UK that has achieved that. So you've probably done relatively well. I don't think there's any problems with that. Not that a purple dude online should be telling you if it's a good decision to sell your house or not, but personally, I think that's fine. What's your opinion on the sell-off on Friday night? Yeah, shit, I forgot about that. It's Barry, right? It's Barry liquidating everything. That's what it, like, wasn't it all Barry's coins that just got absolutely murdered in the shortest span of time? Yeah, BNB we'll go to BNB now. I'll look at BNB. I won't just skim over it by saying, what do you think about Binance? Losing 265 is huge for BNB. Higher time frame, that is a significant breakdown of the support level, regardless of whatever is going on in terms of FUD stories, it or the truth, whatever is going on. From a technical perspective, the loss of 260, 265 is a huge level. You have to be trading back above there to be bullish on BNB. Otherwise, it just looks like the downside. And of course, yes, you've already said it looks like Apple and Disney. Yeah, as soon as you start swapping to the higher time frames, it just gets worse and worse. 215 is rock bottom support of this range. So here you absolutely cannot lose, because below here it's free fall. It is just free fall through this. There's nothing in here. There's no build up in price action. There's no established support levels. There's no clear areas of demand. It is a fall through. Yeah, someone said it looks like Dentist says looks like the ET chart. I shared this, a month ago? There were 3 charts that looked the same. FTT, BNB, and TRX. And they all look the fucking same. They all held weekly lows when the rest of the market died. They all held. They were hugely significant markets in the fact that none of those 3 broke market structure to the downside. Every other crypto market did. Then FTT lost it, obviously. Then Tron lost it, and BNB is working its way towards it. AVAX and FTM did not? I believe you. Alright, they did. They've just been outperformers. They haven't had the same level of sell-off. And FTM? There's no fucking shot that this survived. No. Like, you see it in the chart, right? We're not talking about, like, recent PA. Like, even if we just bring some level of... Like, everything on BNB side is trading significantly higher. And the reason is, like, this is the loss, right? This is the breakdown point. And this is where the majority of other markets absolutely shit it. and these markets held up. I said at the time when I tweeted it that it was just interesting. It doesn't really matter too much. It's just I find it interesting that they're like three of the most vocal people in the space. You know, three of the most significant parties in Sam, CZ, and Justin. And it was just interesting that their coins were the ones that held up. Trading below mid 1220 would be the opportunity to short this. So if we get the rally up here, we get the rally up to 17.2 on BTC, we get the equities relief, then I think the 1220s will be looking to be shut down for ETH. If you're looking on the bullish scenario, you're looking for a reclaim of the 1220s, but I think 1220s is the area that should act as resistance for ETH. And bottom side, you're looking again at that $1,000 region. Weekly RSI is a horror show. Daily looks as though it's had the retest and reset. 3-day as well. Pray for ETH. TRX already bearish retested the former support level? Yes. This week? Yes. What's your strategy when most signals are saying short? Do you go all in short? Do you keep a percentage in stables? You don't need to trade it. Like trading the downside, you'll always be far worse off than trying to get long. So it's all great being bearish, but for the majority of people, you're better off just sat in stables, honestly. The majority of people just sit in stables, just wait out the market. You don't need to actively trade everything. If you are going to trade, then it's certainly not a fucking all-in short position. Why don't you try to contest Loma for Binance leaderboard? Why not try to have a hard challenge? 2 reasons. Number 1, I'm not really interested in trying to prove myself against someone. And secondly, I'm not trading on Binance. How far out are your silver calls and what strike? SLV calls are from 21 all the way through to 26, I think. And the calls are from April next year through to January 2024 as it currently stands. If BTC takes another leg down here, all alts will get wrecked? Yeah, absolutely. Correct. It'll be a bloodbath for alts. Hey CBS, the previous stream I asked a question about profit taking. You also shared a video on Twitter. I did indeed. Thank you for the content. I have another question. I asked about how to improve profit taking. My question is about a statement you always make. You always say in a bull market, hold as long as possible until it's life-changing money. The danger here is that my system is telling me to take profits sooner. How can I tackle that problem? It depends on effectiveness of the system. If your system is telling you to take profit at a different interval versus life-changing money, then sure, that might be fine if your trading system is a particularly reliable and effective trading system. If it's not, and it's telling you to take profit too early, and that is not statistically the best move that you should be taking, then the trading system is wrong for the environment. So if your trading system is saying, oh no, you should take profit at 18,000, but actually then it goes on and trades 20,000, then your trading system is telling you incorrectly to take profit in a aggressive market, and therefore is not right for the conditions. So you're either looking at your trading system and saying, yeah, shit, this works because actually it's getting me out at really good times, it's producing great signals, it's not losing me much money, I'm consistently gaining on each trade. Or you look at it and you say, actually, this piece of shit is pulling me out way too soon in bull market conditions. I shouldn't be using this in a bull market. Already looked at futures market. Would you short ETH now? No. Can you please comment on house prices in the next year or two? I have no idea. I have no idea what house prices is going to look like in that time period. Everyone says bubble. House prices are starting to come down. But 2 years is a long way out to be making predictions. Yeah, it works great for now, but when we have bigger moves, it's maybe too soon to take profit. Yeah, so in this sort of market environment, it sounds like it's fine for dealing with the chop and the range, but it doesn't sound like it's the approach you want to use when the market starts the raging uptrend, for example. My system's only got good entries. Whenever I enter, I round trip this shit, how to figure out exits other than taking out levels. My setups usually never reach the destined price. Yeah, just you need to figure out whatever it is you're using for your entries, you need to figure out what your exit criteria looks like. And also, it's also part of adapting. So if you look back over the last 10 trades you've made and on average you're 5% out with your take profit level, then you've got a pretty good gauge by just looking at the data that you've got so far. And so you can adjust your take profit level 5% lower because, you know, historically, and that's what it's telling you from the data, is that's what you're short by. When you say strategy, you're talking about a confluence of PA and indicators? Yeah, for most people, yeah. During a bull market, should I be focused on leverage trading or spot or spot only, or both? Both. Yeah, do you use divergences for exits too? Yes. Yeah. Huge flush in apartments in local market. Eviction rate for country higher than '08. Man, this is literally like the doom porn edition. 1 week before Christmas, and all we want to talk about is a collapse of the vehicle markets. You want to talk about eviction rates. It's over. If you have a 5-year timeline, do you agree that this is a decent time to deploy capital? No idea. Like, It sounds to me as though you're horny to deploy capital. Like, why do you need to? Why do you need to? There's no reason to. And like I say all the fucking time, you never want to lock up capital, number one, when you need access to it. And secondly, you never should forget the fact that the majority of gains that people made in the bull market were when coins had already exploded multiples and then continue to do multiples more. There is no reason to punt shitcoins here in the hope that 5 years' time your AVAX bag will be worth more than it is today. Who fucking cares? Just buy shit when everything's going up. It's the same. It's the same shit, right? Just wait for an uptrend and buy it. Just buy a bull market. I always give the Sol example. Your Sol had already done multiples. It had already done like a 2.5x by the time that it reached the Mamba $3 short levels, right? That infamous series of tweets with Sam. And then it did $3 to $30. And even if you bought at fucking 30, it still went up to 270 or whatever bullshit it went up to. There's so much money to be made on anything in a bull market that there's literally zero reason to be looking at putting your money in on a hope and a whim that the markets look better in X amount of time. What's the fucking point? You run the risk of losing money, draining your capital, and for a lot of people, it's not that easy to replenish. So if you've got like a $10,000 portfolio and you go and decide to start trading this bullshit or investing in this bullshit and you take 30-40% off that portfolio, that puts you at a significant disadvantage when it comes to the next time that the markets start trending upwards. I have another question. This one is about taking on spot and normal trades. Your words are trades. As a divergence trader, we're always trading against the trend. Spot, in spot positions, you want to see the power when taking positions, buying an uptrend, etc. Would you perhaps zoom deeper in on these points? No, only because it's my determination for how I use those two terms, because they're basically, for me, they're interchangeable. The only reason that I really use spot is I think about spot as a far larger investment from my perspective that is in kind of a portfolio. Spot positions I would take on huge weekly divergences where I don't want to actively trade, but I want to be able to have exposure in the market. It is still essentially a trade because I've got a signal that's trade related, but it's not an in and out position. So I tend to refer to spot when I'm taking a far larger, non-leveraged position in a market that I think has a significant higher time frame signal for me. When I'm referring to trades, it's likely to fall underneath that. I was checking the ETC chart earlier. It made 500% in 10 days back when BTC was 50k. Yeah, there you go. RSI question. How do you manage holding a position in an uptrend when there are constant bear divs on lower time frames, but then it just rips higher? Do you wait for higher time frame divs? Yes. Yeah, that is typically what I do. And it depends on the strength of the market, because if you've got like a true uptrending market, then bear divs are just opportunity to reload the position typically. It depends on the conditions. I'd be interested in knowing what market you're trading or whether or not it's just a case of you asking a generic question about uptrending market. I want to get better at trading next to my studies, but find I'm often missing entries on a higher time frame. How would you go about setting limit orders? Never. And entering when you're not constantly looking at charts? I don't know, man. Like, I think missing higher time frame entries is a meme. I really do. I don't think many people can miss higher time frame entries if they're actually looking at the charts. You don't need to be actively looking at the charts to catch a higher time frame entry. If you just check the chart on a daily close, then that's it. Just take a look at midnight. Just take a look at the next morning when you wake up, like 5 minutes, decide if it's done something and then take the trade. The problem that people have is that they say they miss higher time frame entries because prices move too far for them to get a nice stop, or because they want to put too much money on the position and therefore now can't because the stop loss is too far away from what their entry would be. So people talk about higher time frame entries, but actually what they're really talking about is lower time frame entries, and that they miss those and they now can't support the higher time frame kind of aggression they want to show. A raid with a party of 18. Thank you. Appreciated. Welcome to those 18. We're just going through chat questions. I'm looking at two trades, shorting gold and shorting Euro USD. Gold has a bear div on both RSI and AO, whereas Euro USD only has a bear div on the AO, similar to the dollar. Would you prefer the gold trade? Yes. I don't even need to look at Euro USD. I can tell you this. I don't need to look at Euro USD. This is the trade that looks better, for sure. So that's what I'm picking here, basically. I think this setup looks great. I think it's a great higher time frame play, and you go from there. Seeing people talking about 880 on ETH, it's irrelevant. The only level that's important below here is 500. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else significant about this. Prior shit is so irrelevant now. There's nobody there with fucking positions or meaningful demand from fucking 3 years ago. It's all here. It's all here. Question about timing the trades. When you're thinking about a trade that may come, you sit in front of the monitor checking the candles or set alerts or checking on the phone. I have 2 kids, so busy looking lower time frame, but evening checking the higher time frame. I wouldn't think about what sort of trader you want to be. Think about what sort of investor you want to be, and then focus on something that suits your lifestyle. There's money to be made on both sides. So think about what suits you. It sounds to me as though you're better positioned to be a higher time frame trader or thinking about things from a higher time frame perspective, less necessity to check the charts, less forcing entries on lower time frames. The majority of people don't need to be on the lower time frames. They can stick to the higher time frames and do absolutely fine. So to me, it just sounds as though you need to make that distinction and then stick to it. 7-11 is a big DeFi lick level. Oh no, we're going to be back in that period of time again. Everyone remember that? Like all of the talking about all like the maker like liquidations and all of that shit. That was a nice period of time. How do you take a trade on something with earnings coming up? Now it looks like a great short. I'm already in profit, but thinking of closing 50% of the position with earnings on Tuesday would make sense, to be honest. Playing into earnings is very difficult unless you're in calls. Like if you're in calls or puts, I think it's a lot easier because your risk is predetermined and then you can survive those wild swings around earnings. But apart from that, if you're in a normal position, if you wake up and Nike is up 30% fucking pre-market and you're short, then you know it's game over. So personally, it depends on your method of trading those contracts. Do you see us gapping down? No, I don't think so. Again, I think that there's a really nice hourly div. I think we may, depends on, it doesn't really matter what happens in the opening minute. We may open red, the opening sort of first hour. But the hourly div is quite nice at the lows. I think there's probably a good chance that tomorrow we see a rally and a push higher, at least try and squeeze out some of that short pressure up towards that 3,900, mid 3,900s, and then hopefully reverse from there. We've really been through the BNB chart. Off the top of my head, 260 is an important support level that it lost. 215 is the next support level on that chart, and below that is free fall. So what's your advice on taking profit in options regarding timing? Advice is like play into the momentum and then appreciate the fact that obviously you're going to get the time decay as soon as, you know, that momentum is done. For example, I'm in a lot of put positions now where I'm looking for major sell-offs in Apple, Disney, Netflix, so the kind of the key 3, and obviously SPY as well. But those 3 markets are where the vast majority of my money is currently on the short side. And so what I'm looking for is I've got April and June expiries. And I want the sell-off obviously as soon as possible because that's going to expand the profit side out. But then I'm going to be taking profit once we get those sell-offs, if we get those sell-offs. So if we get the larger sell-offs, then I will be taking profit on that because I don't want any of that kind of consolidation. Maybe we get a rally in between, then suddenly I'm hoping for another sell-off in order to put my options positions back into good profit. So look for the momentum, look for the expansion, look for when you'll start to do significant multiples or percentages higher, and then get out. What do you think of Echo Bubble in 2023? It's a nice theory. It's a nice thing to talk about. I mean, it just seems like a prediction, just something to throw out there. I know it's something that has been talked about on CT. Can you scan alts you think are best to short if we bounce? ETH is a pretty obvious one. Looks really poor on the higher time frame, so I think ETH is still a really good short option should the retests come and the rejections come. BNB is probably a fantastic one if it retests into that 260, 265 zone. Again, just because it's a hugely significant loss of that level, not because I'm predicting the death of Binance or anything here, but it is a significant level for BNB to have lost. Do you have any dollar points where you would quit trading, or is this more like a daily thing for you that won't be replaced? I've been thinking about this lately, and as much as I'd like it, there isn't an amount that would make me fuck off. Yeah, I've always said that regardless of what my portfolio size is, I will always enjoy the process of managing money and looking to make my money work best for me. So I'll always enjoy that side, and trading is a passion. It's an enjoyment thing as well. And I think also probably there's also a part of it that's also self-preservation and protection in terms of who knows when that situation will change. Who knows if I might get caught up in an FTX scenario. I shouldn't, given the way I spread things out, but you get my point. Who knows when that situation can turn. So I think realistically it's something that I'll just continue to do. Take out on BTC, ETH and BNB. Are you looking to short? I'm already in the short positions that I want to be in. BNB 265 short area. Yeah, it's ETH 1220, BTC 17250s around there. Maybe chat get their miracle at 17.5, and then it's BNB at the 260s, 265s. In current market conditions, considering divergences on the awesome oscillator that indicate possible upside momentum, do you increase your positions on each down leg? Or do you open one position, set a hard stop? No, I build positions into markets that are bleeding out or continuing divergences. Most definitely. Can you start your aggressive trading shorting soon, or is it only longing? Longing's far better because the upside is far better than the downside. That's always the way the markets work. So the upside is always far better to play into when you're looking at building an account. Again, I'm in the short positions that I want to be in. I'm not looking at like actively trading a week before Christmas. If that's 2023, I'll look at it again, and if it's something I want to do, but I'm set up very comfortably in significant swing positions, long on silver, and I should be able to just ride out the rest of the year and hopefully the rest of January as well in those positions. Watch Brian Watt video on single stock risk. He said never touch them if one is serious about longevity in trading and focus on indexes. I can't disagree with. I've been strongly inspired by your weeks of growing new accounts, really big catching impulses. I think it's a very hard thing to do. Do you have anything extra to share about that beside what you already gave us on Twitter? No, I would just say this is just going to sound like some plug for the stream, but I tend to discuss everything pretty openly in terms of thought process, feelings, etc. Tune in here is where I just give education and discussion and thought process. So yeah, so I guess I probably drop things in that are helpful for people without really knowing it. Thank you for the sub as well, Sheep. I forgot to say to give you my thanks after your question about the 2023 Echo Bot. How do you scan your watch list? You start with the daily time frame and look for important SR and RSI and AO positions, or do you use TradingView Screener with the same conditions? No, just like a weekly chart would be where I would start, and I can probably scan this. I could probably scan this entire watch list in two minutes. I could probably narrow down this entire watch list into 5 markets that I would want to pay more attention to in 2 minutes. I guess there's people in here now who haven't seen Super Bull CBS. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and you're not far off. Honestly, you're not far off. On the impulses, how do you identify what will probably move shortly rather than go sideways, tying up capital? Divergences on the higher time frame, as many divergences as possible as you start to cycle down the time frames, and then positioning is basically the key. With the end of stream prediction, you say you got 10 right now. It's not 10. It's not 10. It's 9 months. And it's 9 months of every single week being correct. It's not just 10. Can you tell us your prediction and reason after the vote poll and before the market plays out? All right, as we're a week before Christmas, I'll do it. Do you think there's good divergences with RSI and AO playing out in the gold daily? Yeah, we took a look at that a minute ago. Yeah, I do. On a different topic, what are your suggestions on storing crypto for the long term? I want to do all I can to avoid a repeat of FTX. It's just spreading shit out as much as possible, as far as you can. Splitting down to smaller amounts, different currencies, different stables, different locations, hardware wallets, whatever you want to choose. It's all down to personal preference. So as long as for the majority of people, just having a hardware wallet should be security enough. And then just splitting down and making sure you're not going to get fucked at one location and that's it. What percentage of your portfolio is crypto versus TradFi? In a crypto bull market, it's vastly weighted towards crypto. Right now, the majority of my trading balance is in TradFi because the market's better, equities are better, the performance of equities is better. Equities markets produce more upside than crypto did, and they're just better markets in terms of return. So there's no reason that I would focus on crypto as a key point right now. But when it comes to typically speaking, my portfolio would be heavily weighted crypto. What do you think will be the ultimate bottom, and when will you start scaling in heavily? When there's an uptrend. That'll be the time. And I'll look back and I'll say, hey, look, I can see on my chart now that there's a good chance that the bottom was on this date because we're now in an uptrend. And so I'll buy some crypto here. How many monitors do you have? 1. Do you believe that if a large number of people think something will happen, it won't? Tweets about alts about to get a 50% drop. Next move's got thousands of likes. It seems to be a big consensus trade right now. I don't know. I think people like stuff. It doesn't necessarily mean that they agree with it. I like things, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I believe that it will happen. I also don't really agree on the kind of consensus trade. Sure, a tweet about an alt dropping 50% might get 2,000 likes. The grand sum of money owned by those 2,000 people who liked it is probably like $3,000. So it's not as though it actually reveals too much about the market. How big is the monitor? 55 inch. As someone relatively new to your trading, what time frames are you mainly trading on? The higher time frames. Higher time frames like daily, 12-hour, weekly, right now. very little information for me to gain from the lower time frames, and given the time of year, I'm not really interested in actively trading it. So catch me in the bull market and I'll be trading some lower time frames, looking at some more aggression when there's momentum in the market, when volatility isn't flat and in a pretty poor position. I say that, like, the volatility is not exactly flat though, right? Volatility is still pretty good. We just got a really nice downside move over the last few days. The volatility is still there, but it's less attractive on the downside, obviously. Would you consider the 4-hour bull div on LTC has already played out? Wow, LTC made a 4-hour bull div, huh? Nah, no bull div here on the 4-hour. So higher low here, higher low here. So you've got matching PA currently. So no bull divs. 1376, 1600. Okay, I think I'm 2250 collection level now, somewhere around there. Check the 1 hour. Okay, so you're talking about this. Like, this would be the dream for how SPX runs. Let's see, this would be the dream scenario. Diverge all the lows like this and then just give like pathetic move up. Is it complete? Signal wise, yes. 4-hour obviously looks as though it could drag itself up from the floor. How does one get an avatar like yours? This is an Anatta. So Anatta NFT. You can check that out on Twitter. This is honorary, created for me. But there are plenty there. Your passion seems to be fading. I don't know about that one, man. I think you misread. Has the confidence in chubby corns changed? No. What coins would you look for if Echo Bubble in 2023? Is this just, everybody's just like GCR pilled? Is it really that big a thing that people are considering this as an outcome just because GCR said it? And GCR also the same person that, yeah, is also betting Trump 2024. And is GCR trading on Binance now? After the FTX stuff? Yeah. Look, it's a GCR prediction. Who fucking knows? But all I would say is if you're a newer investor, I wouldn't be just subscribed to the words of GCR. Honestly, I think that's just a way of just putting yourself into a thought process that who knows if it's going to be true. To be thinking about what alts to long if there is an echo bubble. How's the liquidity on Femex? Yeah, for some things it's lacking, right? For some alts, you're going to have trouble getting significant size filled without slipping. Other markets are really solid. The majors have been really good for me, but other markets you're going to struggle. I don't think there's anything negative about saying that. I think that's just the reality of the situation to be aware of. If you've got significant size and you're looking at shoving all in on a market that's illiquid, then you're gonna have a bad time. How's your motivation on streaming, on trading and streaming? The streaming side, more motivated than ever. We're gonna have a really good stream. I don't know when it's gonna be. I don't know if it's gonna be the week. I don't know if it's gonna be in between Christmas and New Year, or if we'll do it. We should do it just before New Year, but Cred's gonna come on again, and we're gonna do a top 5 events of the year. We're gonna do a little rundown. We're gonna give our top 5 events of the year, good or bad. We'll look back on 2022 and some of the shit that we may have forgotten or overlooked or put to the back of our minds during that period. We'll get on stream for a couple of hours and shoot the shit over what's gone on this year. The trading side of things. Like, I've been motivated because I've been building fucking big positions on the short side, so I've been motivated. I'm not motivated to trade the lower time frames, certainly not on crypto. Like I said in, I think, the last stream, I've had a poor time trying to position on a couple of crypto market. The equity side has been very good. And yeah, streaming, I'm smiling as I say how happy I am about this year in the streaming and what we've achieved and the way that chat's grown, the way that community here has grown, and looking forward to next year as well. For aspiring traders, do you think it's better to get a part-time job for 2023 alongside trading if you think the markets will chop sideways for a significant time? There's opportunities outside crypto, still okay to have a good year with metals, etc. If you're an aspiring trader, then I would highly recommend also having another form of income. I don't think I'd need to cover off too much else. I think that should be your priority. Do you only use the amazing indicator? The awesome indicator? It's actually the awesome oscillator, but we'll forgive it. You're like 50% there. You use one adjective that started with A, so that's fine. Do you look at that? Do you look at divs to give you confirmation to enter a trade or other stuff too? It's a combination. It's a combination of support and resistance, and then the position of the awesome oscillator, any divergence is present, but also RSI, which you can see on screen as well. Oh, here we go. A little bit of movement here. Look, a little bit of green. We're only 25 minutes off futures open. Goodness me, the week starts again. I could see us just having chop through the open days of this week on equities, and that being it just resets RSI, it just fucks around, gets us through Christmas, and then we'll open up again. Yeah, Operation Save the Weekly, here it comes. Here we go. Okay. They bring in us the Vol. What time zone are you on? UK. Can you explain how it takes you 2 minutes to scan your list and what you look for? The weekly RSI position. That's it. Thoughts on Ape? It looks poor if it's below 410. 415 on a weekly. Alright, it was relatively juicy and then got less juicy. And we're now 15, 20, 19 minutes away from Futures Open. I think the market is quite boring right now. What seems to be interesting to debate, though, is how low we can go. Zero is how low we can go. Yeah, we're going to oil territory. You're right, negative. What do I think the lowest will go on? I don't know. I think a better prediction is what's the next thing to go to zero? That's a better conversation. What's the next thing to just completely melt off the face of the earth and just evaporate? Probably sand? What do you mean? What do you mean? The fucking 12 active players on sand will ensure that never goes to zero. Tether. Oh, Christ. Then it's really done. What resources or material can you recommend to study in order to get better at divergences, RSI, MACD? I know about MACD. Divergences, RSI. I've got two options. You can go to YouTube and you can browse all of the free content that you wish to browse. I've got some stuff on YouTube as well. It's free to access. You can tune into the streams or you can check my prior tweets and threads on RSI and divergences. Or you could join the Haven and come get the education firsthand. You like that little plug? ETH bear div on 5 minute? Jesus. Things are really bad, huh? Nah, no bear divs. This is nonsense. Would love to join the Haven, but the cost is too steep for me as a broke uni student. Copenhagen living is expensive, I can imagine. But check out all the free stuff and continue to tune in. Good morning, Doe. Why isn't this a bear div? Because there's no high we're measuring against, right? And we can't measure from here. If you're thinking that this is a classic example of why you don't use more than 14 candles for a bear div. Way too much time has passed. Way too much time. If the RSI comes back down to the 50 level, you should be concerned about bear divs. If there are more than 14 candles between the first high and the second high on your divergence, you should also be concerned about the divergence. Are you still long testicles? Yeah, end of Jan. I took some really aggressive ones for Friday at 163 and 163 or 16250. I think it's 163.33 and 16250s. But obviously they failed because Tesla was a piece of shit. It looks as though it was going to open good, play out the hourly div, which was the hope, and then just continue to puke. So yeah, end of Jan is the only real long exposure that I've got. Do you have a starter pack, if you will, at the Haven to catch up on the fundamentals of your trading? Yeah, everything I've ever produced is there. And so if you take the key criteria of Awesome Oscillator, RSI, Renko, then I've got topics on everything there. And then I'm also a big poster of like psychology content, so talking a lot about emotions, thought process of most people when they're involved in the markets, etc. So I also focus quite heavily on that side of things. I think it's very important. Oh, here they go. They had enough of the pump, huh? Back down we go. Yeah, mentioned as well, Krillin. We will likely hand out a few free memberships soon to the highly motivated to learn trading but can't afford it. The Haven Scholarship. Yeah, absolutely right. Follow the Haven's Twitter account to be sure not to miss it. Good shape. Yeah, 2023, it's game on for stepping up my game. I think a lot of people will feel that way. I think a lot of people will step into 2023 with a new outlook, as we tend to into a new year. But I think a lot of people will definitely take that approach. Now's 1 minute, takes out the stops at 11.220 and then tanks. Interesting. Fuck, 5 minute bear divs playing out, he was right. That's it. My streaming days are done. The Haven is like having a stream like this every day, but without the crazy questions and super concentrated down. Yeah, okay, that's a very good way of phrasing it. Yeah. Alright, what's this say? What a journey it's already been. Took 40% of my stock portfolio and bought the Pico top in crypto a year ago. Been an expensive year in terms of learning lessons, but how many experiences a recession at 22 actively trading? Hopefully long term I'll look at this time as a great learning period. I'm sure you will. I'm absolutely sure that you will look at this period of that. I think that Cred made a very good point as well, and I think it counters the point that Jim makes. Very often Jim makes the point of how many times are we going to see the sort of conditions that we saw to produce the bull run that we got? And that's one of the points that Jim makes quite regularly. And I think that's a fair point. I think that's a valid point. However, I also think Cred's point of how many people see a significant recession in a lifetime is also very important when we're thinking about prices that we may be able to buy at. I think it's worth thinking about that side as well. So I'm sure you'll be fine. you're still here. Join the stream just for the vote. Need to redeem my 3-week voting losing streak. That's why. When you just join in for the vote, that's why. Will Don join the stream Sunday? Probably not, just because I don't really chat to Don like on a kind of a close level. Whereas like me and Cred, you chat pretty regularly. So, time to vote. Shit, yeah, we're already ticking along. Candle, voting. Let's go. Let's split the screen here. We'll get the NASDAQ up. We're voting on the color of the first NASDAQ 1-minute candle, whether or not we're going to open green or red. This is your view on the daily time frame. I've already covered it. I said it looks fucking dreadful. I actually didn't cover the NAS, but same shit. 12 hour, 4 hour, 1 hour, 15 minute, 5 minute, and finally the 1 minute. The 1 minute flat range into the close. So, vote is up. You are using your channel points in order to predict the outcome, and you will be handsomely rewarded if you guess correctly. Not only through channel points, but also through a wonderful buff that you will receive for your trading throughout. Alright. 40% red, 60% green. My prediction? Red. Good luck. Nah. Cancel the vote. Cancel the vote. Cancel the vote. A man says you're cursed. Impossible. I've already got all the presents sorted, so I don't have to worry about that side. The reason I said cancel the vote is, what a shit candle. That's the worst candle I've seen. That was so fucking shit. That's nothing. I didn't even have to like zoom in, zoom out. Like, that's so bad. Now remember, the other thing is, if I really want to avoid the curse for myself, I'll just choose the outcome as red. The only thing that matters is where the prediction points actually go. So I just pay the bears. Don't bother me. I pay the bears, I'm right. Yeah, see, look, everyone now, look. Alright, congratulations, Bulls. Nice job. Santa Rally is here. BTC pumping. So we'll have one more stream before Christmas. We'll do midweek at some point this week. Probably Wednesday. Catch up on what's gone on. I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of action in here, but we'll catch up on Wednesday, Thursday, maybe. Maybe just talk about the latest drama that I'm sure will unfold over the first 48 hours of this fucking week, as it always does. So everybody have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Enjoy what is left of it. Have an amazing start to next week. I hope that the trading goes incredibly well. We'll catch up midweek next week in the afternoon. For those who can't join an afternoon stream, Merry Christmas. Have a great one. Don't get too caught up in the charts. Try and enjoy some time away. Relax. It's a wonderful time of year for those who celebrate it. Try to let the stresses of the market slip away and just enjoy time with friends and family. For those who can join an afternoon stream, I'll see you next week. So may the trading be beautiful in the meanwhile. And as always, may the PNL be wonderfully, vibrantly green.